Hello, my name is Ingrid Cortázar. I'm a Bachelor in English student from the University of San Buenaventura, and today we're going to talk about and learn about interlanguage. In today's agenda, we're going to see what is interlanguage, then the characteristics of interlanguage, errors and mistakes, what is fossilization. We're going to go through some samples and analysis, and then some conclusions and bibliography, and finally the credits. Okay, let's start. What is interlanguage? Interlanguage is a linguistic system used by second language learners. Learners create this language when they attempt to communicate in the target language. Interlanguage is affected by the learner's native language as they use their native language knowledge to understand and organize the second language or to compensate for existing competency gaps. Nonetheless, interlanguage is entirely different from both the learner's first language, L1, and the targeted second language, L2. Interlanguage has its own rule system, but it contains ungrammatical sentences and elements. We say that interlanguage is dynamic because it serves as a bridge between L1 and L2 when learners lack of knowledge and find mastery of rules, but over time learners progress. They refine certain rules and obtain new ones. We also say that interlanguage is systematic. This is because although different learners have different interlanguage, they all have their own rules within their variations. And also, interlanguage is variable because learners' performance is variable. They may apply the same rule differently in separate contexts or domains. Errors are mistakes. While errors are systematic, mistakes are not. Errors reveal a portion of the learner's competence in the target language, and mistakes is the performance error that is either a random guess or a slip. Errors may be the result of interlingual transfer, context of learning, or communication strategies. Interlingual transfer are those errors resulting from the negative influence of the first language, and intralingual transfer are those errors resulting from the negative influence of the second or target language itself. Overgeneralization of rules. One of the effects of interlanguage is the fossilization, and in some words is when the learner freezes a form rather than correcting it. Certain aspects of the language may freeze much earlier than others. Some of the reasons for fossilization are that a student reaches a comfortable communicative level, and others would be the inability to overcome certain linguistic obstacles, an inadequate learning environment with no exposure to colloquial language, or incompletely or incorrectly learned linguistic forms that cannot be unlearned. Now let's take a look at some samples from students from the Stella Matutina School. In this task, students were asked to send teacher an email telling her about their vacations. In the three samples, we can see the three kinds of errors. We can see some developmental errors. There might be made by their age of the learners. We can tell some overgeneralization errors like the verbs. The errors that are caused by trying to use a rule in a context where it does not belong. For example, the verb in present when they're talking about a situation in the past. We can see also some simplification errors that are caused by simplifying or leaving out some elements like pronouns or nouns or prepositions, and the misuse of these expressions like Up next, we're going to take a look at a video of a toddler who is talking about his favorite mean of transportation, and in this case we can tell a lot of development errors because of the age of the kid and some intralingual errors.
Money is my favorite transportation. Airplane. Airplane. Fly. Fly in the sky. In the sky. People travel
As conclusions, we can say that interlanguage is a natural and important process in the L2 acquisition. Errors are important in order to prevent fossilization. We as teachers must understand that this helps us what learners go through in L2 acquisition, and therefore we can develop reasonable expectations and prepare suitable materials to avoid inadequate training or early fossilization. Thank you very much for your attention, and this is all.